Hello students, I'm going to discuss about the sampling, that is the representation of continuous time signals by its samples. Why we just required to represent the continuous time signals by the samples? Because nowadays we are going to deal all the systems and all the process are uh, are processed in such a way that it accepts only binary zeros and ones. That is nothing but the continuous time signal cannot be processed in the digital processor or computer. To enable the digital transmission of continuous time signals, we require converting the continuous time signals into discrete time signals. You can do by using the process of sampling. And the below figure shows the continuous time signals and its sample discrete time signal, and observe that the continuous time signal is sampled at t equals to 0, ts, 2 ts at discrete intervals. That interval it is represented as ts and so on. So what is the figure it is given is nothing but a continuous time signal is given by x of t, and second signal is given by delta of t, is nothing but it's an impulse function. It is not defined at t is equal to 0, it is defined at ts, 2 ts, 3 ts is nothing but you can even call this is delta of t minus nts. So multiply the x of t signal with the delta of t minus nts signal, you are going to have your x delta of t sampled version of discrete time sampled version of your continuous time signal, because any signal is multiplied by delta is nothing but delta the sampled value is equal to 1. So x of t is multiplied by 1 is nothing but you are going to get x of t, but the sampled values, instead of having continuous values we are having sampled values, that is 0 ts, 2 ts, 3 ts, minus 2 ts, minus 3 ts and so on. So this is a continuous time and its discrete time representation. And what is mean by a sampling theorem gives the criteria for spacing ts between the two successive samples. The sampled signal x delta of t is called the discrete time signal. It is analyzed with the help of DTFT's discrete time Fourier transform and Z transform. So which we are going to discuss in the next fifth unit. So what we are doing here, the what is the sampling theorem for low pass signals? Already you know what is mean by a low pass filter. It's nothing but it is going to allow the frequencies up to a cutoff frequency. After that, it is not going to allow the signals. So, what is the statement of sampling theorem? Instead of this one and two statements, it is minimized and given in a simple way. That is, statement alternatively given as a continuous time signal can be completely represented in its sampled form. It's nothing but discrete time signal. After converting continuous time signal into discrete time signal, what we need to do is nothing but and recovered back, if this and recovered back is nothing but again reconvert the discrete time signal to continuous, because all the systems which are exist in nature and we can able to listen, we can able to get the proper information by using continuous time signal, not by using the discrete time signals like digital signals like zeros and ones. So what is the process is nothing but after converting uh, for processing the information by using the digital computers, if you are converting the continuous time signal into discrete time signal, again for getting the information proper to the output, again convert this discrete time signal into continuous time signal. So recovered back, when it is going to be converted back is nothing but when the sampling frequency is twice the highest frequency content of the given input signal. Sampling frequency is fs should be greater than or equals to twice the highest frequency of the input signal. If this condition is satisfied, then only you can recover back the nothing but you can again convert back that discrete time signal into continuous time signal. Okay. If it's not the case, if you're not able to recover back is nothing but the problem you're going to occur with the aliasing. What is mean by aliasing is nothing but when the high frequency components interfere with the low frequency components, Then the high frequency components is looking like the low frequency components. Then the phenomenon is called aliasing. What are the effects are going to be the effects we are going to have with the aliasing is nothing but since the high and low frequencies interfere with each other, distortion is generated and the data is going to be lost and it cannot be recovered. Sorry. So the sampling theorem is not satisfied. The effect is going to have is aliasing. With the aliasing, we are going to lose the data forever. What are the different ways to avoid the aliasing is nothing but avoiding aliasing can be avoided by the two methods. The sampling rate fs should be greater than or equals to 2w or strictly bandlimited signal to w hertz. And we'll see some parameters that is called Nyquist rate and Nyquist interval. Define the Nyquist rate as when sampling rate becomes exactly equal to 2W samples per second for a given bandwidth of W hertz, then it is called Nyquist rate. And the Nyquist interval is the interval between any two adjacent samples when sampling rate is Nyquist rate. Nyquist rate is equal to that is FSR sampling rate is equal to 2W hertz. Nyquist interval is 1 by 2W seconds. By using those formulas, some problems are given. Find the Nyquist rate and Nyquist interval for the following signals. X of t is given as 1 by 2 pi into cos 4000 pi t into cos 1000 pi t. So try to convert this into cos a plus cos b. Multiply and divided by 2. 2 cos a cos b is cos a plus b plus cos a minus b. So I'll try to find out F1 and F2. What is the highest frequency of the out of 2500 and 1500 hertz is 2500. So what is my Nyquist rate is twice the highest frequency component of the message signal. Twice so 2500 is 5000 5 kilohertz. What is the Nyquist interval is 1 by 2W is 1 by 5k. It's nothing but it's a point 0.2 milliseconds. Second problem is sine 500 pi t by pi t. F is equal to 250 hertz and W is 250 hertz. Nyquist rate is twice the highest frequency of message signal that is 2 into 250 is 500. Nyquist interval is 1 by 2W that is 1 by 500 2 milliseconds. Next, the important topic is convolution between the two discrete time signals. By applying the input x of n for a given LTI system, with the impulse response as h of n, the output y of n is going to be calculated as convolution of x of n with the h of n. And by applying the Laplace transform, what is the formula of first convolution is nothing but sigma, some intermediate variable as k, x of k into h of n minus k. K is varying from minus infinity to infinity. The operations in the computation of convolution as replacing n by k and h by k, you need to find out h of minus k is nothing but it's a folding. Folding the sequence h of k is folded at k is equal to 0 to get h of minus k. After getting h of minus k, it is shifting. H of minus k is shifted depending on the value of n, that is h of n minus k. After shifting, it is a multiplication. X of k is multiplied by h of n minus k. Summation is nothing but the product sequence obtained by multiplication of x of k and h of n minus k is added over all the values of k to get the values y of n. This is the procedure for the convolution sum. So we'll see one problem. Convolve the following two sequences x of n into h of n to get y of n. So x of n, this is the alternative method to check your answers are correct or not. X of n and h of n. It's nothing but take x of n as 1 1 first row, h of n as the column 2 2 all the samples. Try to multiply that 2 ones are 2, 2 ones are 2. 2 ones are 2, 2 ones are 2. Try to multiply. 2 ones are 2, 2 ones are 2, 2 ones are 2, 2 ones are 2. And diagonally, you just add the components, draw the lines diagonally, and add the values in that diagonal. This is 2. Here it is in this diagonal. 2 plus 2 will be 4. 2 plus 2 will be 4. 2 plus 2 will be 4. 2. And what are the values of n is nothing but n is different from 0 onwards. Here also 0 onwards. 0 plus 0 will be here also starting from 0 onwards. It is defined completed as 3 and this is completed at 1. 3 plus 1 is nothing but 4. 0 n is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Try to verify this by using the method 2. Y of n is equal to x of n convolve with h of n, that is x of k. Try to represent x of n as x of k, all the ones, and h of n as h of k, that is 2 2. And first you need to fold the signal of h of k is nothing but time reversal, h of minus k. 0 1 is shifted to 0 minus 1, that is for n is equal to 0, the convolution sum is x of k into h of minus k for n is equal to 0, and x of k into h of minus k, wherever the common samples will be there, try to multiply it 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is equal to 2. At n is equal to 1, at n is equal to 1, h of minus k shifted to 1 minus k is equal to 1, add k is equal to 1 to h of minus k, minus 1 is shifted to 0, 0 is shifted to 1. So try to start multiplying x of k into h of 1 minus k. The samples which are common at 0 and at 1. 1 into 2 plus 1 into 2, you will get it as 4. Similarly, for all the steps you need to do until you are going to get the answer as 0. By using convolution operation also, you can able to do the problem. Just follow in the second problem. Try to solve problems, and we need to discuss about properties of convolution is satisfying the commutative property, associative property, distributive property, and any signal is fifth one is any signal is multiplied by delta of n minus n naught. You are going to define your function is also defined at wherever impulse is defined, that is n naught. Just go through correlation. We have two different types, autocorrelation and cross correlation. Autocorrelation, correlation between the two same signals, x of n, x of n minus m. And cross correlation is nothing but between the two different types, x of n into y of n minus m. And try to find out the convolution between the signals. Thank you. We are completed with the convolution and the sampling of continuous time signal with this. Thank you.